am bringing you another 16 characters. Let's start. Starting off with a big update about Akainu, we're increasing his minimum strength from 37,000 into 10 times more as Courier, which means that he can win with him without fighting seriously. And that gives Akainu brand new strength because minimum strength is going up from 37,000 to 57,000. His brand new strength is actually 10,000 more. 87,875. Also, there is a small asterisk because based on Akainu's strength, several other characters were justified, so those characters were updated. In case of the position, only Kizaru went up one rank. He surpassed Sengoku. As for Akainu, he remains position number 3. He reached way closer now to Shanks. On the other side with Shanks, this is still super wide range, which it's gonna be updated in the future. Anyway, this is like a first rough estimation for him. While White Belt, it's probably set and done. Also, as you can see, Kizaru went up one position from position 7 to position 6. Case closed. Next character is Demalo Black, fake Luffy. So his strength is super hard to justify. All what he is doing is yapping his mouth. However, there was a few moments which we could actually justify. So his minimum strength is average pirate captain on the Grand Line because he's sailing on the Grand Line. He needs to be at least that level 20. In case of his maximum strength, we have to go to his small clash but decisive blow from Sentomaru when he basically casually, not serious, beat him down. However, because the gap is so great between those two, because how he not even use his weapon from the sharp side, he just use it like a hammer, his axe. So I have to treat here Sentomaru's minimum strength because this is the lowest possible number which I could take, and obviously he winning with Demalo Black without fighting seriously and with one punch, which gives him maximum strength for Demalo Black as 122, which gives average strength for Demalo Black as 71. We have in 254 characters so far, and he is placed around 200. He is strongly similar strength to Captain Morgan, as you can see, and even surprisingly he can be slightly above some of the Baroque Works members. Case closed. Third character is Lip Doughty. I'm gonna give minimum strength of Lip Doughty as 71 Demalo Black level because Demalo Black says specifically, oh, Lip Doughty were defeated by Pacifista, I have no chance, which means he treat this character as stronger than him. Minimum strength, Demalo Black average strength. In case of the maximum strength for Lip Doughty, yeah, he got one-shotted by Pacifistas. It is clearly easy say that Pacifista wasn't serious there. Pacifista is 20 times stronger. That gives Lip Doughty maximum strength as 433, and that gives average strength of Lip Doughty, which is surprisingly 252. Because this is exactly Chopper level without taking Rumble Ball. I'm putting Lip Doughty above Chopper simply because Chopper without Rumble, he is so young, he don't have fighting experience yet. Other characters which you want to find it better is Zambai from Frankie family. I think this is the best fit because he is like a side character and Lip Doughty is also a side character. Case closed. Next one on the list is Gyro. His minimum strength is gonna be exactly a Grand Line monster level simply because this is a character who was sailing over the Grand Lines and he is definitely the strongest character among his crew, and he almost get to the Fishman Island. I mean, but he was also captured. So he needs to be at least of a Grand Line monster level to sail that far. And his maximum strength, well, his bounty is quite low to other supernovas after 2 years after. They not supernovas, I know. So I'm gonna give him maximum strength of a Lip Doughty average strength simply because this character have lower bounty, it's weaker, less relevant, really fodder character. So overall, Gyro is gonna have 215 strength, and that places him on 164th place in the character. Also not amazing. It is similar to the Big Knight Sarkis, which is a vice captain of Bellamy, and I think this is pretty correct because this character was really just to scale other characters, and the only feat what he actually mentioned was that he fought other fishmen before. The way how he phrased that, it was like he was a tough battle for him. So placing him just above Big Knife Sarkis, even Tashigi from East Blue, I think fits perfectly. Case closed. Next character is literally a colleague from Doughty, is Albion. He appeared in a similar episode, similar places, and fought similar opponents. So his minimum strength, I'm gonna put it as Doughty. That when he was fighting the fodder marines, he was causing more damage than Doughty. Doughty was fight 1v1 with one marine, couldn't finish it off, where Albion actually finished several within one serious attack. In case of the maximum strength, well, I'm gonna put it exactly the same as Doughty, which is 20 times weaker than Pacifista. Even though Albion didn't fight Pacifista, still when he just heard about it, he immediately turned into the running options, meaning he knows he have no chance, and that basically means that Pacifista is 20 times stronger. So his maximum strength gonna be 433, and that gives average strength of Albion 343. And that places him at 133 position, also pretty weak. Behind 100 character mark is not amazing. It is getting a Grand Line Monster title, probably like Doughty, yes. However, his strength is similar to ones from CP7. Case closed. Next is Hammond, and I must say this is the most controversial even for me. I'm following the rules, but this is still a first take, and the range will be pretty wide, so there will be a correction later on. So his minimum strength, I'm gonna put him as average Fishman. I hope Fishman Island is not over, so I hope for a good upgrade. For his maximum strength, I'm gonna go for, yes, his fight with Gear 2 Luffy. He was one-punched by Luffy, but in this case, in this scenario, because Luffy used Gear 2 for multiple Fishmans, not only one, so I'm gonna use minimum strength of Luffy Gear 2. And Luffy Gear 2 is 6000 strong. Luffy learned Haki, so he will have Luffy Gear 2 and Haki, another title, instead of simply improving Gear 2. So that gives maximum strength for Hammond for now as 2000 and his average strength as 1025. But as I said, this is gonna be improved because I do not believe him to be on position 81, even above fodder CP9 like Bueno Khalifa or Fukuro. He even for now winning with Frankie before his time skip. I think he deserves lower placement, so let me know in a comment what do you think about it. Case closed. Next is Wadatsumi, the big guy under Vander Decken. His minimum strength is gonna be Luffy base, obviously no Haki. Simply because when he encountered and tried to stop Luffy when he was taking Shirahoshi, he tried to stop them. Luffy immediately went into Gear 2, so his minimum strength is gonna be 706. In case of the maximum strength, Gear 2 did a very quick job, basically won the battles with a one punch, meaning its maximum strength is gonna be half of Gear 2 average, which is 3000. Overall, Wadatsumi gonna have 1853 average strength. And that gives him 77th position, probably pushing down all of the previous positions, one position lower as well. And he is on the level of Zombie Ryuma, also the demon guards from Impel Down, or from other side, other giants, but the weakest possible giants in our ranking, Oimon Kashi. Case closed. Next is Vander Decken. Vander Decken fought with Luffy Gear 2 actually, just before Wadatsumi, and the only asterisk here will be that Luffy is really tied up, which means he is actually handicapped. We need to account Gear 2 Luffy as half of his normal strength, which is 3000 now. Luffy attacked him twice with a serious attack, still handicapped. That gives minimum strength of Vander Decken as half of that, which is 1500. In case of the maximum strength for Vander Decken, obviously we need to treat it as battle won by Luffy, handicapped Luffy. So maximum strength for Vander Decken is gonna be average strength for Luffy 3000, and that gives average strength for Vander Decken as 2250. placed him in the 73rd position. They're getting all of the titles, which is Landline Monster level, faster than a bullet and stronger than steel. He is just above the Prison Guard, Demon Guards from Impel Down, and just below their captain, Sanji. Surprisingly close to John Bart. Case closed. Kraken would be next to our list, and he have an encounter with Wadatsumi underwater. Both are technically fishmen. Wadatsumi is a fishman, Kraken lives underwater, so they feeling familiar to fight underwater, which means their buff for fighting underwater cancelled each other, and we could say that Kraken couldn't win with Wadatsumi with a one punch. However, after that he proceeds something like Gatling another serious attack and won the battle, meaning his minimum strength, because he won with Wadatsumi, it's gonna be exactly average strength of Wadatsumi, which is 1853, and his maximum strength will be that he cannot beat Wadatsumi with a one punch, which is 3706, and that gives average strength for Kraken as 2780. That makes him actually stronger than Wadatsumi and Vander Decken. Probably he cannot take 2v1. He is stronger than the commander-in-staff for the Demon Guard, Sanji, stronger than Janbart, but not as strong as Hannibal, the Vice Warden. Meaning this Kraken is actually a serious threat even for humankind. Case closed. Next is a surprise, it's Monstrous Boar from the New World, the exact one which faced Apu. And its minimum strength is gonna be 10 times less, as Apu couldn't beat it actually without fighting seriously with that Boar, which is 757 minimum strength. And the maximum strength for that Boar will be that obviously when Apu start fighting seriously, use the same attack as he uses for Kizaru, which is 3787, and that gives average strength of the Monstrous Boar 2272. That places him just above Vander Decken. So imagine now that Apu and his crew was basically handled by the horde of Vander Deckens. Case closed. Next is Hyozou. He was paid and hired by Hody on some of this route, currently ranked as one of the officers, and his minimum strength is we gonna go to his encounter with Gear 2 Luffy. So when Luffy was attacking, don't forget that was Luffy when he was attacking quickly with the one attack on 3 opponents, so we take him minimum strength from this Gear 2, and Hyozou blocked it. That means he's at least half of that strength, which is 2000. In case of his maximum strength, yes, he poisoned Luffy, but we need to see the overall picture. Hyozou retreat. That means we need to treat Luffy from Gear 2 no Haki as a winner of the battle, which will be 6000 maximum strength, and that gives average strength of Hyozou pretty tough because it's 4000. This actually placed him pretty high, still outside of the top 50, he is 64, but if we want a good comparison, will be like a small Seeking, so it is a pretty big threat, or simply Chopper in his monstrous point when he take 2 Rumble Ball before the time skip. Case closed. One of the unusual creature, which is Elephant from the Ruskaina Island when Luffy actually trained, because the first encounter with him when Luffy actually needs to use his Gear 2, his attack does nothing, meaning the minimum strength of that Elephant is actually pretty decent. It's 3000 because it's half of the average Gear 2 Luffy strength. In case of the maximum strength, yes, Elephant push him back, hit back to Luffy, but he also couldn't finish him out. So I have to give maximum strength for that Elephant as 12,000, and that gives average strength for Elephant Ruskaina actually 9000. That is hell of a strength. To prove it to you, it is position 35 in the list, ranking in the top 50, more importantly ranking exactly as Smoker in the Marineford Saga arc, which means, but don't forget, this is only a pure strength, this is not a battle strength, this is not a battle combat, because for that I think he will be losing, the Elephant will be losing with the characters below him, simply because of the battle IQ even. Still, pure strength is even greater than Oars Jr. Case closed. We are getting to the final part of this video, Sanji and then Zoro. Let's do it, Sanji. Sanji's minimum strength, we're gonna go to his shop on the incident when altogether with Zoro actually face the Pacifista. They both use a serious attack with our doubt. Sanji uses Diable Jambe. I do not have Sanji base yet in a post time skip. We're gonna do it later on whenever it's possible. So minimum strength, I'm gonna give exactly Pacifista level because he took with a one punch Pacifista. Yes, he's supposed to be twice stronger, but another half goes to Zoro. All together are twice stronger than Pacifista in case of minimum strength, but then we have to divide it by 2. So minimum strength is gonna be 8,652 and maximum strength is a tougher one. However, I was able to find it. It is simply put, he will not surpass his master, at least not yet. So his maximum strength, I'm gonna put exactly average strength of Emporio Ivankov, which is 15,722. And following up, Sanji's average strength is gonna be 12,187, and this is ridiculous amount. You will see why. Because he is placed in position 26. He is a second or third powerhouse monster trio, as you call it, but he's not the captain, and he is on 26th position. Tell me who else, which is not a captain, having such a high strength, except of Riley, yeah? Who? So he is just above, and that is even more ridiculously because this is Blackbird with one devil fruit. This is a Blackbird when he enters the Impel Down, he literally surpasses in strength. And just below that, so we could say he is somewhere in the strongest vice admirals, and he is somewhere on the weaker side from the warlords, like Crocodile Moria. Even while Blackbird, case closed. Next is Roronoa Zoro, also post time skip. Just to make it clear, Sanji and Zoro is not like Luffy. Luffy has his own forms. In case of Sanji and Zoro, I'm not sure actually they learned all of the haki, some portion of the haki, but they clearly improved their body, which is why for Luffy I'm just adding haki to every single his form, and for Sanji and Zoro I'm going directly from the beginning. And for Sanji, obviously there's gonna be base and Diable Jambe. Zoro will have only one single take. It's gonna be Zoro post time skip. Until there's some kind of major thing and he somehow improved or whatever, I don't know. Also, there will be continuously improving because this is before they even battle with the Fishman. His minimum strength is gonna be exactly as Pacifista as discussed before, 8,652, and his maximum strength, I cannot put Mihawk's level there, so I'm gonna go to his encounter with Kraken. So that was a fight underwater. Calculations has to be made. Kraken is twice stronger. Zoro's already twice weaker underwater. However, he couldn't beat Kraken with a one punch up there, which means he's not twice stronger in Kraken underwater with those heavy restrictions. So in short, Zoro's maximum strength is gonna be Kraken's average strength times 2 because Kraken is underwater, times 2 because Zoro is underwater because we need to lever it up to be adequate, and times 2 because he couldn't beat it underwater with a one punch. So after the calculations, Zoro's maximum strength so far is 22,240. He will have a correction. The more battle he will take, the more accurate I'm gonna rank him. So far his average strength is 15,466. Crazy amount, and you're gonna see it why. Because that literally places him in a warlord level. Zoro after time skip is literally a warlord, and it's not weak warlord like Crocodile or Moria. It's definitely on the average warlord level. It's not the strongest is Jinbei and Boar, don't make me wrong, and probably the Flamingo, I don't know how strong he is, but he is definitely not on the weaker side. In fact, he is position 22, he is exactly as strong, I must say, because there's even probably less than 1% than Bartolome Kuma. However, as I said, I think his strength will be adjusted more. I do not know if it's gonna go down or up. Hard to tell. I need to see more fights. This is a rough estimate. Definitely not gonna go up than 22,000. Case closed. So let's go to Hody, shall we? Let's see how tough our opponent our opponent on the Fishman Island compared even to Sanji and Zoro already justified. So minimum strength of Hody is gonna be quite of a calculation because he faced Zoro on land. However, Zoro was using one sword at that time, and when with this flying slash technique of Zoro's, he couldn't beat Hody, so Hody probably could avoid it easily. However, in this case, he preferred to put a shield of another fishman. At the end of the day, meaning Zoro couldn't win with Hody at that time, so we have to calculate Zoro's average strength and divide it by 3 because he was using one sword, and obviously one punch fail still divided that extra 2. So Hody's minimum strength is gonna be 2575. In case of the maximum strength, we're gonna go again to his fight with Zoro, this time underwater, so certain buffs has to be made. Hody is twice stronger, don't forget, and Zoro is twice weaker. And I'm gonna go to the exact outcome of the battle, simply Zoro win the battle, right? So maximum strength of Hody is gonna be average strength of Zoro under certain circumstances. And that again, we're having Zoro's average strength divided by 2 because Zoro is underwater, is weaker, and divided by 2 again because Hody is twice stronger underwater as well. Then that gives maximum strength of Hody as 3862, and that gives average strength of 3219. And don't forget, every extra evaluate over Zoro will trigger this character strength, so the Zoro will be the weaker, and I think that is mostly the case. That means Hody also gonna be weaker. So far he is placed in the superhuman level, which is CP9, and that is on the top side, on the stronger side, because this is Jabra, ladies and gents. Stronger than Hannibal, and surprisingly this is also stronger than Kraken, and that makes actually some sense because he needs to take him out from the North Pole, you know, while in his base, maximum with 1 steroids, because he is not overdosed yet when he bring down Kraken, so he needs to be strong enough for Kraken to simply obey him. Case closed. So what about Hody with 1 steroid? Because he was so cocky, he was so confident of his strength that nothing literally can stop him. Even when he was overdosed, he said, oh, I can deal with Luffy later. Let's find out Hody with 1 energy steroid, how much of a power boost it gives him. So his minimum strength. We go into the scenario with Gyro when he took that 1 steroids and he went and he literally destroyed whatever was there. So it means he is clearly not fighting seriously and overpowering. We could say that he even won with 1 punch, because that was only a show. That means his minimum strength is 20 times Gyro average strength, and that gives 4300. Even though he improves a lot, when Hody was overdosed, which is stronger form of Hody, was struggling even with a Gear 2 no haki hit. No beaten down then, which means I could easily say that maximum for Hody 1 steroids is actually Gear 2 with no haki level, because his next form was also struggling with that. Which means maximum strength for Hody 1 steroid is 6000 strength, and that gives average strength for Hody with 1 steroid 5150, and that's pretty interesting. And this is pretty interesting simply because he is overpowering. He is slightly above Zoro and Sanji before time skip. So let's say Straw Hats will not be stopped by Kizaru and they went into Fishman Island before time skip. Those opponents actually might be really tough and relevant, because Hody, okay, this probably still is gonna be opponent for Luffy, and Gear 2 looks like is alright to deal with that kind of power. However, Zoro and Sanji will have a pretty rough time if they face Hody under the steroids. But even after the time skip, Hody actually didn't use steroids to fight Zoro and fall miserably. So his strength is just above those 2, Island Eater, and just below Killer. Case closed. But what about King Neptune actually? I was thinking I'm not gonna scale him, but I actually found a way, so let's do it. His minimum strength we're gonna go to just before his Hody's fight with Zoro without taking any steroids. He was using serious attack, those shark something combat karate, whatever that is, into a royal army, and Neptune was covering. He was taking simultaneous many hits from Hody, and we could easily say even though he was injured, he wasn't properly down. meaning Neptune's minimum strength would be half of base Hody, which is 1610. In case of the maximum strength, when actually Neptune was underwater in creating a passage to his royal guards to run away, he was using the combat marine, even running away using his whale. Hody grabs him, meaning that Hody at that state was already stronger than Neptune for him to realize that and release this whale and simply give up. That means maximum strength for King Neptune is none other than average strength of actually Hody with one steroid, which is 5150. And that gives average strength for King Neptune as 3380. And surprise, surprise, this is just above Hody in his base, which is why Hody was using some kind of trickery, this power steroids, simply to take over the country. Because without that drug, looks like the whole Fishman Island was unable for him to take. And as we see, he is position 72, just above Hody, and just between Kaku and Jabra. This is so tight between those two because those two are super close together. However, King Neptune is so skinny that he could fit there. Case closed. So let me know what do you think about it, about Zoro Sanji. Probably it's gonna be updated. Let me know what do you think, what kind of proposal. Maybe you have a better justification to help me out, improve the power scaling. Definitely let me know about Hammond, and overall, what are you thinking?